Are you feeling curious?
Yeah!
Today on Curious Crew,
Whoa!
we're all charged up. And I actually felt a little shock as we investigate static electricity. You won't want to miss this shocking episode. Oh, that was a good one. Hi, I'm Rob Stevenson, and this is
Curious Crew!
Welcome to the show, everybody. We always like to start with a couple of discrepant events because discrepant events stimulate
Curiosity!
That's exactly right. And I've got some fun ones for you today. First of all, I got to point out a couple of interesting things I have on the table here, but I'm going to start with this little plastic cup down here. Now, look closely, my friends. You're going to notice I have a nickel that's balanced on its edge, and I even used a little tape just to make it easier on myself, but you can balance it and do the same experiment. And then I took a toothpick and balanced that on the edge of the nickel and placed a cup over the whole thing. I've got a balloon here, and I'm going to rub it with a little bit of rabbit's fur, and I'd like somebody to make a guess on what you think is gonna happen when I bring this balloon towards the cup. Callan, what do you think is gonna happen?
I think the toothpick is going to turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna rub this just a little bit and keep your eye on the toothpick. Oh, check it out. Good prediction, Callan. So not only did it spin, but it also fell. Okay, let me set this aside for a second. And okay, yeah, I've even got some little fur sticking onto my balloon there. Okay, we'll talk about that too. How many of you guys have ever seen one of these before? Raise your hands if you've ever seen a Van de Graaff generator before. Excellent. This was invented by Robert Van de Graaff in 1933. And I got to point out just a couple of interesting things. I'm going to be holding this wand, and this wand has a little ground line that's going to go all the way back here into the base. Now, I also have taken these little pieces of ribbon and have them stuck on top in these little plumes. So you guys keep an eye on that while I turn this thing on.
That is so cool.
Okay, now watch what happens when I come in with the wand, okay? Ooh, did you notice that?
Yeah.
The Van de Graaff generator. I'll set that aside for a second. Okay, we've got some pretty interesting phenomena here that we're gonna have to figure out. Who would like to do a little scientific modeling to see if you can use the evidence through the show to see if you can come up with a scientific explanation for these? Who'd like to do a little modeling moments, you guys? Okay, Carice, Ollie, Gentlemen, you guys are gonna be working on that. But first, what do you think we're gonna be exploring today? Somebody have a guess what we're gonna be exploring? I've got this tricky toothpick, I've got this Van de Graaff plume over here. What do you guys think? Gibson, what do you think?
I think we're going to be talking about static electricity.
Oh, static electricity. Now, that would be shocking, wouldn't it, to talk about static electricity? Stick around. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. See if you can try to explain these phenomena yourselves. Pretty cool.
Let's figure out what's happening with these discrepant events.
Well, we know the balloon was charged with static electricity because we could see it in the effects of the toothpick.
Right, and obviously the cup doesn't stop the electrons from traveling through. It kind of reminds me of a magnet's attraction to a paperclip through a table.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good example of non-touching forces. You know, I've seen a Van de Graaff generator before where a person was touching the dome and their hair stood up on end. The plume is kind of like that, so I think the strands must be repelling.
It was cool how the strands would move towards Dr. Rob's wand.
To understand static electricity, we need to think about atoms, those tiny particles that make up everything that takes up space. An atom has a nucleus in the center that holds neutrons and protons while electrons orbit the nucleus. When two objects rub against each other, it's possible that some electrons could move from one object and join an atom on the other object. The object with extra electrons is negatively charged, while the object that lost electrons is positively charged. Those opposite charges attract, while the same charges will push apart or repel.